Okay. It is Sunday. It is an art day. Sorry, I'm a little behind today. We had a late night, keeping an eye on the weather. Things got pretty squirrely to our north. Fortunately, we missed all that. The areas that got hit near us, they were about maybe 40 minutes from us, 45 minutes. We had a couple of rolls of thunder and like a sprinkle, and that was it. So we lucked out there. So we didn't have to worry too much with that. I have an update on our... I'm zoomed in today, so I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. But the sealer's dry. And that's what our finished piece looked like. I'm a little bit more zoomed in, so it's not fitting in completely. But, yeah. It didn't come out too bad. I don't hate it. So that's a plus. It's definitely different from some of the other things we've done, but I don't necessarily hate this. We might try something else similar to that down the road. So we'll have to get that hung up so it's out of the way. We have to find space on the wall. I'm sure we can. Our walls in this room are pretty empty. So last week, or Monday, I don't know if we want to consider it last week or not, we left off putting our sketch in, and we were working on our sky a bit, which is where we are going to pick up today. And we tried putting the tape on the edges, just so, if nothing else, I can try to keep a straight edge. I don't know if it's going to work, because I can already see this side and the other side, like, getting, like, pulled in. But maybe as we go down, it'll even itself out in the end. That and the other lights will tell ourselves, right? So get some fluff here. The Flamingo Gouache Speed Paint is done, and that is up on the channel, on the YouTube channel. Husband is still working through episode 10's needle felting speed paint. I have started working on episode 11. Haven't gotten very far on 11 yet. I got like the opening title done, and I'm like 2 minutes into editing. If that, it might not even be a minute, as I am working through that one. We'll see how many weeks or how many sessions this one takes. We'll see. Probably gonna need to add another bit of fluff up there. Oh, right. So I forgot. I put it in the chat and I didn't hit enter. So for anybody new here, we are following along with the Joy of Painting Bob Ross tutorial series. We are working on season 3, and this is going to be episode 12. Yes, 12. Called Hidden Lake. There is a link in the chat that will take you to the tutorial in full on the Bob Ross YouTube channel, because I have the tutorial down in the corner. It is muted, it is tiny. I do have closed captions on, but it's so tiny, probably not really going to be able to read it very well, and we have a lot of the time where it's in pause because this medium does take a little bit longer to work through than, say, using paint. So, and that is just a little bit of water. Helps me get a little bit more friction in my hand here, so that we can grab a hold of our fluff and get it into an easier workable piece. Some people just lay the fluff on and go to town. If that's what you prefer, then by all means go for it. I find doing it this way, I have less thin spots that I have to come back in and layer back up on and stuff, but you do what you want to do. This is just how I want to do it. Now we are using acrylic yarn. You can use any kind of fiber pretty much, as long as you can get it to its like little fluffy state. Traditionally people use wool, roving, you know, that sort of stuff. That can get a little expensive though, especially if you're trying to do something like this. You would probably end up having a very strange color palette, or having to get several boxes of white and dyeing it. More than likely. So it's partially why we went with the acrylic yarn, because it was a bit more budget friendly. Just a bit. So I was trying to make sure we weren't focused. I think we are. I just kind of have my finger resting on that fluff till we get some of it anchored in here. Just so the needle doesn't grab too much of it at once. There's little notchy news in the sides of the needle that will snag the strands of your fiber, and it kind of shoves all of the fiber layers together as it goes down through the layers. So these guys are a bit sharp, so you do need to be careful. Now we are trying a different piece of felt this time. I picked up a thicker piece of craft felt. So we're gonna see how this goes. I know some people are like, oh, you need to use wool felt, and no. You don't need to. It might be nice to use it. You might not have the weird edge pulls where things get a little bit wonky. But I don't know for sure because I haven't used the premium wool felt sheets. We are using just craft felt from the kids section at the craft store. Nothing real fancy here. My budget can't handle real fancy. It's not sustainable. Alright, just seeing if we have any thinner spots that we need to deal with. I think we're okay. Thought I had a thin spot over in here, but I think I'll just bring the mountain up a little bit to kind of deal with that guy. So I was gonna overlap the mountain a little bit anyway, just so that we don't have any odd seams up here. You try to overlap my edges a little bit. Now if you're just using the straight bits of fluff without rolling them up into little fluff snakes, you probably won't have the weird seams. It probably really won't be an issue. So this piece of felt is probably maybe 2 to 3 sheets thick of like the classic felt. And this is made with recycled plastic bottles, believe it or not, according to the sticker on it. Okay, I'm just gonna brush the back of that down. We've had a bit come through the back, but not a whole lot. You can see how much white is in this shade of blue here. I'm probably going to have to refill our bag of blue fluff here. We won't do that on camera, but I'm gonna have to do that before I hang up our bag of fluff back on the fluff wall. So that way it's ready for the next project that we use it for, which will probably be the next or the last one in this series, which will be up next after this guy, because that one's got a bigger mountain going on in it. It looks like we've got some sky that we have to fill in. It's got a lot going on in it. And Steve is actually painting that one while Bob is sitting there reading out questions and about how to do certain things, and he's making Steve demonstrate the answers to the questions. I always kind of felt bad because you could tell that Steve was really uncomfortable being on camera. He was super nervous. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. It is Memorial Weekend. It doesn't feel like it's Memorial Weekend. It feels like it should be next weekend, but I guess since the end of the month falls in the middle of the week, it's this weekend. I guess it's the last Monday of the month. Sort of thing. Our anniversary is coming up, believe it or not. Our wedding anniversary. That is coming up next month. Hang on, let me see. Oh, it was so itchy. 6. That is not. It's in 2 weeks. We were married on the 8th of June. And if the math is right, we'll have been married 17 years. That is actually a Saturday, so I guess we'll be celebrating streaming Diablo. I guess. If the husband still wants to keep playing Diablo at that point. Don't really have the money to do anything special. I'm trying to save for the trip in September, which I guess will kind of count as a belated anniversary celebration and birthday celebration, because our birthdays are in August. Providing the weather cooperates and we're able to go. Can't really go if there's a hurricane, so I usually try not to book travel during hurricane season, and it's we've been lucky the past couple of times we've traveled during it because it was the very beginning or towards the end of it. But trying to book a little bit later in October, they were kind of full for the week I wanted. So we decided to try to have it timed where my mom would be in Florida seeing my brother for her birthday. Oh my goodness, somebody is running their car stereo so loud. It's making our walls thump, like I can feel it. And I can't figure out if they're down by the car wash or if they're across the street in the parking lot. But it is becoming super obnoxious. You okay?
Uh-huh.
The last time it was coming from the car wash, and it went on for like a good 20 minutes. And I feel so bad for the people that live right behind the car wash. Because I'm sure they didn't sign up for that. Just trying to have a nice, quiet, relaxing Sunday afternoon. And like, we can't even really hear the song, it's just thumping. That's all we're hearing. So with this one being a little bit thicker, it takes a little more time to stab it in, this felt. And I need to be a little bit more slow when trying to stab it in, just so that we don't pop our needle. Because there is a little bit more resistance on this guy. Like, my arm is getting a workout. I keep thinking that's a thin spot, but I think it's just a lighter section of fluff. Like, I don't think it's... It might be a thin spot. Tell you what, since I keep going back to it, and it's distracting the hell out of me, let's just put a little guy over it, and then it'll either be a different color I'm looking at, or it'll cover up the thin spot. Either way, it'll be a win-win fix, right? Or at least that's the theory. So what's everybody up to this weekend? Anybody doing the traditional Memorial Weekend barbecue stuff? My mom really didn't care, and I really didn't care. I really didn't want to, because it's gonna be hot. And I think it's gonna be too hot to be standing in front of the grill, and a little too buggy out, because we've had all kinds of flies around. And between the heat and the bugs, I'm like, you know what? I don't care all that much. I could cook this inside. And then, you know, everybody will probably be a little bit happier. Say that I'm okay with. Alright. So. Shall. Our next bit of fluff and stuff worked into here, and I'm not pushing down with this finger. I just kind of have it just gently resting, just like normal hand weight resting, not like excessively pushing down on it, just to keep the needle from grabbing everything. Really doesn't want to go in there. I don't think it's the section of the mat that we're on. I think that is full on fluff and stuff there. Yeah, because if I slow down, we can get in there. So like I said, this bit of base felt is a little bit of a different texture to be stabbing into. Kind of like the texture of the other one a little bit better. I felt like we could go a little bit faster. But we'll see how this one turns out. If the sides on this one stay a bit better, or they don't get as stretched out or bowed out on the edges, we might consider picking up some more of this when we're out of fluff. So you have a lot more fluff to go. Or, not fluff, felt. So I've got a stockpile of felt now to see us through the end of this and several more projects. Could be where we're stabbing into it. Let's go ahead and turn the mat here. No, that's too small. Alright, let's get a little bit of water. Just because it helps with a little bit of friction in the hands. Just to be able to grab this and smooth out our edges here. Life's been so busy, I lost track of what was still listed as not having been put up on the YouTube channel. I lost my place because I was like, oh, I need to put this up, and I was like, oh, the flamingos are done. So let me put that up. And we didn't have Planet Zoo this week because of the plumbers that we needed to have come out to deal with the disaster that is this house. Because when you try to look up videos on how to fix the things now, it's how to fix the things in the state they're currently in, with how people are building stuff now. And it's starting to get to the point where certain parts are going out of production, and so a simple fix turned into a couple $100 nightmare. I'm like, this should have been like $10 at the most. All I wanted was the leaky faucet to stop leaking. That's all I wanted. Like, we should have just had to replace a washer. Right, you don't have to do the brushy downy bit on the back. I do, just because I find it helps the front lay a little bit flatter. That's just a me thing. Not in any way, shape, or form something that you have to do. Okay. So instead of having a barbecue tomorrow, we're gonna have French toast, apparently. we really need to get the grass cut. But the weather has not been the most cooperative. And the husband doesn't really want to be out there at the hottest time of the day trying to do it. Fair enough, because we have the push mower now, not the ride-on. And his skin is New Hampshire white, so anytime he goes outside in the sun, there's no tanning with him. It's either white or red sunburn. So it's either a lobster or not a lobster. Since he's gonna be stuck out there. For a couple of hours. Well, not really a couple of hours straight. But like one charge of the lawnmower does our front yard and maybe the neighbors. And then it takes about 80 minutes to charge the battery to get the backyard. We only have the one battery, so we didn't have the money to get a second battery yet. Maybe next year we'll get a second one, but he likes to have the break in between to come in and cool off. Our yard's not overly large. Like, it's definitely under an acre. For sure. But when he's also cutting the neighbor's yard, it takes a little bit longer. And it's gross out today. It's hot and it's super windy, but the wind is hot too. And there's something about the hot wind that just feels strange to me. I'm like, ugh. I don't like this. So, I mean, yeah, we are still getting, you know, a good amount of fluff coming through the back. I don't know if we're getting more than on the thinner felt, or if it's about the same. It being about the same is kind of strange to me, considering how much thicker this is. But we'll keep on tapping along here. Twitty hello people. Best viewers on. Okay, whoever's bot this is, and I'm assuming you're a bot. If my assumption is wrong, please enlighten me. But all you're saying is best viewers on and star star star. So it doesn't even make any sense to me. Unless it means something else. So I don't know if you're trying to advertise something that you shouldn't be. and trying to get around the auto delete system. Or if you're just trying to pop into different channels to be nice and give them a view for a split second and type in their chat so that the algorithm picks them up for more views. I don't know. I don't understand. But I'm very confused. I tried to look this up the other day and couldn't find anything about it, so I might not have been searching the right things. Which is entirely possible. I'm not the most tech-savvy person in the world. But this is the third time under the third different name I've seen this exact message this weekend. So I don't really know what this is about. And it would be great if someone could explain to me if this is just a spam bot that's not working properly. Inquiring minds would like to know. So I was seeing the pictures from the towns to the north of us that got hit with this tornado. Oh my goodness. Even the lead weather guy at the TV station that we watch the most for weather during storms and stuff, his house had damage. He had some trees uprooted. His back deck was pretty messed up. Looked like part of it got ripped up. A big tree root ball sticking up in the middle with either steps or straight decking up in the air, and he had some tree limbs on his roof, but he's like, other people in our neighborhood are a lot worse off. And I'm like, oh geez, with trees falling on the houses. And there's a lot of down power lines and stuff, so we got lucky. I got real nervous when they issued that tornado warning so late last night until 5 a.m. I was like, oh fuck. And then I was like, well, you know, maybe we won't get any of this. Maybe it'll all stay in Oklahoma. And then during the Diablo live stream, I was trying to keep an eye on this tornado warning that was just to the northwest, I guess, of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it kept persisting the entire time I kept checking in on it. And I was like, it's not dissipating. And I think Claremore, Oklahoma got hit pretty hard too. And they originally had, like, the way the tornado box was shaped, it was originally looking like it was gonna come down in our direction, and I was like, oh shit. And they were talking, like, all the weather people in Ryan Hall, and everybody was like, yeah, no, you need to pay attention to this. And I was like, Not happy. And then when you know you're in trouble when you hear like the TV news weather people go, "Oh my." And it's like, "Oh shit." If they're that deeply concerned by something they see when they've seen a lot of things, it's like, yeah, no. Like, he was talking slow, but he was like, oh. I was surprised they didn't put everybody at the TV station in their safe spot, because the town the TV station in, I believe, had the tornado. Maybe it was on the other side of the town of the tornado warning, but like there were times during the broadcast where everybody's phone, all the weather alert radios in the building were going off, and I was like, oh dear. Like, what you don't want to hear during the broadcast. And then they're like, we might get knocked off the air. The station's been hit by a tornado before. We'll stay on the air as long as we can. And I'm like, oh. And then they lost their signal a few minutes later, because I was watching their broadcast on Facebook. And the feed started spinning and buffering, and everybody in the chat's like, uh-oh. And like, I'd say within a minute they were back on the air, and they're like, we lost power. We're on backup power now. And they were trying to make sure that they were back on the air and that they still had their Facebook Live going and everything. The one guy's real good about making sure that they get the Facebook Live going, because not everybody has TV access around here. Some of the other trainees that have come through at station aren't quite so on the ball with that, I've noticed, when there's been weather issues and he's not been there. He's either on vacation or home. There was one or two that were good about it in his absence, and those guys have since moved on to other TV stations, and I was like, no, like out of state TV stations. I'm like, no, come back. You're good about doing the thing when the other guy's not there, for whatever silly reason. Alright, so we should be able to get started on our mountains here. And when we get to starting those, we're gonna draw in some more features on those for us to follow. We're gonna do something a little different with this mountain. We're gonna deviate slightly from the tutorial. We're gonna do something a little abstract-y here, because this mountain doesn't have snow on it or anything. He's got it as a distant mountain where you can't see a whole lot on it, but he's got like the top edges darker, and then he was trying to like put in some like ridges on it and some shadows on it with the way he was moving the brush. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're gonna two-tone this mountain like we talked about in our idea sketch that we have up in the left-hand corner. Sorry, my creaky chair is creaky. I think it's getting to the point where I'm gonna need to replace this chair again soon. It hasn't been that long. Probably only like 2 years old, but man, last night I was hurting. It didn't help that when I went to get something out of the fridge when we were making dinner, the way I stepped and leaned down, something in my tailbone area tried to pull out of place entirely. I was like, oh no, and I froze, and the husband's like, you hurt yourself, didn't you? And I'm like, I don't know. It hurt in the split second that I tried to do the thing. And I stopped going in that direction to keep it from getting worse. But then the rest of the night, the opposite side of what tried to get angry with me during dinner was angry. And I really don't want to have to replace this chair. Chairs are expensive. Chairs that you can sit in for a couple of hours at a time are expensive. But this chair was always a little bit wobbly, like in the seat area, which I found strange. I mean, it was solid enough, but it was always just a little on the edge of, don't fall apart on me, chair. I had managed to get this one on sale. I also don't like buying a chair without testing it first. And this was similar to the husband's chair, so I was like, okay, that's fine. But I also need one that either doesn't have armrests on it at all, or armrests that you can flip up, because my neck is so fucked. I'll be leaning on the armrest and then I'll fuck my neck more because I'm like compressing it. So I have specific needs for my chair. I think this was from Serta. It was okay when I first got it, but it was better than what I had. The old chair I had was just so horrible. I was sitting on like multiple pillows, and that chair had just become unsittable. Pretty much. Okay. I'm gonna put just a little bit more in this one spot. See, I don't always need the water on the fingies. It kind of felt like some of our pen was coming up through there. It might not have been, but it kind of felt like it. So we'll just add another little bit in there real quick. So, do you guys like Bob Ross a lot, or are you just here to see what I can do with it? Got nothing else better to do today? Do you enjoy needle felting? Curious about what it's all involved with? I know we're sideways at the moment, but that was just so that I could see what the heck we were doing. See this side. See, as you go, right, the fibers get pulled in because, you know, you're tightening up all of the fiber as you're going down through the layers. This piece is going to be a bit of a mess. Alright, let's see what we can do with this one. Alright. So we'll get this guy worked into here. I mean, I've kind of partially accepted, I'm trying to accept the fact that our sides are going to be a little misshapen, it seems. I can do pretty good up to a point, and then we hit a certain spot and it just starts getting pulled outward again. If not on one side, then both. So the tape is there, so I have a straight line to kind of follow. So I'm trying to figure out if it's me or if it's just happenstance. Because we don't have a whole lot of edge to work with here. These are supposed to be 9x12 sheets. Supposed to be. They never feel like they are entirely. I mean, I guess they are, but that doesn't seem like quite a ½ inch on the top and bottom. Because we've got an 8x10 in the middle. I could see this being almost an inch on this side and the other side. This side, not so much. That doesn't really look like a ½ inch to me. I think it's just the way it works out sometimes. It probably started out in like a 9x12 mold. But then I suppose with a little bit of shrinkage and stuff. Though the specific size doesn't matter quite as much when we're putting the dowel rod hangers on them. And I mean, if you're gonna frame it, you could always get a mat. Might have to go a little bit chunky on the mat, but you can always do a mat to help hide any of the inconsistency to the size of the edges. Mats are wonderful. They can really make a piece pop, and they can hide a multitude of issues too. For sure. Okay. So we're almost done with our sky here. Might add one more little piece. Maybe right here. Have to see. We might not need it. But at the same time, I'm a little on the fence about it. I think we might add just a little something there. Just to help fill that in a little bit better. Yeah, I think that helped a little bit. Okay. Now, pop up. Just make sure everybody's still behaving back there. See, even right in here, like up here feels a little more pulled in. Okay, now, I'm gonna grab our blue fluff. And we're gonna set that to the side. Alright, now I'm gonna grab one of our pens here. No, alright, we'll put you down there. Don't be getting silly here. Okay, so going by our sketch, we're gonna have like a section kind of come down into there, and then gonna have sort of like a section down into there. We might make that a little bit bigger in there, and then got another. Which way is this going? Alright, so we'll have like another little guy into there. And then I think we've got like one more spot into there. Okay. Just so. Ooh, I almost fell out of my chair. I thought that armrest was down. See? Okay. I've been trying to leave it up after having it down for so much. Okay. Are we ready to add a new color to our mat? To our needle felting mat? Alright, so let me check our chart here. Okay, so our mountain, we need our colored jam and vintage heather. So let me dig through our bucket of fluff that we put all of our colors in for this project. We've got a lot of them. Okay, that's jam. We're gonna have to fluff some more of that too. We should have enough for what we're doing right here, though. Now, I'm not sure if I wanted to swap this to the dark aubergine, or if we're going to stay with the jam. No, I think we'll stay with the jam. Sometimes I second guess the colors, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? This might look a little better But so we're going Vintage Heather from Paintbox, Simply Chunky, and Jam, Simply Chunky on the Paintbox as well. So let's grab some of this. I'm gonna get just a little bit of water, so we're gonna outline our mountain guy. Well, we're gonna try to outline our mountain guy. I don't need it to be super thick here. Like, we need it to be a little bit thick, you know? Okay, so we're gonna go back to being sideways here for a minute. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna come a little bit over our blue edge here. Oh, you know what? Does Bob already have the... Okay, he's already got the mountain in. I couldn't remember where I had put the tutorial for today. I wasn't sure if I had to advance it yet. But we should be in that same spot on the tutorial for the rest of today. So I just kind of want to be over, just over the edge of our blue. Like, just enough so that we don't have the weird edges meeting each other. Like I said earlier, but like, I don't want a whole lot of real estate being eaten up with the purple. Like, it doesn't have to be all the way out here. I mean, if you really want it to be that far out, then you know, that's gonna be your project, your piece. And like Bob says, you know, if we want to change a color or something, we can. We don't have to do everything exactly as he does. We try to follow. As closely as we can. Sometimes that's possible. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes we do have to get there a different way. I mean, we'll get close to it in the end, but it is going to be a little bit different. Right, just kind of thinning out our bit of fluff here. And you can use a little bit of water on your fingers if you need to. Not saying soak the whole piece of fluff. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes just that little bit of water can really help with getting the fluff to cooperate. And that goes for if you're using the acrylic yarn or, you know, really whatever. The wool. Doesn't really seem to be specific to one type. Because I've used a little bit of roving before. I have some still. I just don't have a lot of it. We might try to use some of that roving up when we get done with our Bob Ross season 3 here. And because I've got a couple of reference photos put aside that I'd like to do something with, that I've been holding on to a bit. So I know we're upside down. Actually, we're not going to need that much of the jam. Not really. So, let's thin this out just a little. Oh, that was too thin. Alright, well, you go over there. That was a little thinner than I wanted it to be. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start tapping that into there. And if anybody here is new, hi. If you hear any typing in the background, that's going to be the husband. That's going to be a thing. And I live on a very busy road through our town, so traffic is going to be a thing as well. Nothing I can do about that. That's just the way things are. Right? We just kind of have to go with it, right? Our room, actually all the rooms in this house, none of them are really ideal to stream in, but the rooms I have available to stream in, none of them are really great. And the room we are currently in has like plaster walls and a high ceiling, and you know, can't really get any benefit from putting those foam squares up. Like, it's not gonna do much, and I don't know if they're even gonna stick to these walls, so, or what's gonna happen when I try to remove them. But I think if I end up getting those foam squares at some point, if we end up moving and I get them, I think I'm gonna attach them to foam board and then put the foam board on the wall, so that way I don't have to worry about what it's gonna do to the wall if I need to pull them down. You know, just to be on the safe side. Because I don't want to do drywall repair or plaster repair. No thanks. We've already had some plaster issues with the walls in this room previously, so we had some people doing electrical work in the house in our kitchen, which is on the other side of our room that we're currently in right now. And they managed to knock a small chunk, like maybe the size of my palm, like maybe this size, off our side of the wall while they were doing work in the kitchen. And I'm like, yeah, this house is not that great. Especially based off of how many issues we've had to expensively deal with. Oh, hey, I put you over there. Now you stay over there. Don't be getting feisty. Fluff's getting an attitude. Don't worry, some of you will get used as well. Don't worry. So we have Bob down in the corner that we're following. And we have our reference sketch that we did up in the left corner. So, I mean, it's hard to tell from where we are in the tutorial with Bob about what all these lines here are for. So, we did our test sketch, right? We did that with colored pencil, just kind of quick, trying to figure out positioning and layout and what colors we were going to use and all that jazz. I have like a whole color key between trying to figure out what color pencil was closer to the yarn that I had and what we were going to do, and pulling the bags of fluff down and sitting them to the side, so we already had them pulled out, so we don't have to make these decisions on the fly, because it saves me a little bit of time over agonizing over a color. Motorcycle. Like I said, the traffic is going to sound loud because I had to turn my microphone up so we can hear me, because I don't always talk very loud. But, so that's what these lines are for. They're kind of following our sketch that we did. The sketch should be going up on the YouTube channel later today. The VOD might still be on the channel. I'm not certain. It might be. I'm not sure if it's dropped off the channel videos yet, but we did that last Sunday. It's probably still there. Alright, I'm just gonna work this guy, and I don't feel like trimming him for that little tiny bit. Not really worth it. Okay. So that's what our back looks like so far. Alright, now for our front. I know we've been doing a lot of this one sideways, and I'm sort of sorry about that, but at the same time I need to see what I'm doing, which is why I will keep turning it around so you guys can see where we're at so far. Alright, now we're not quite done with this color yet, so we're gonna see these little V's I've drawn. We've drawn today. We're just gonna make up words today, or use words that exist improperly. Why not? I've drawn these little V's in here, and we're gonna start filling those in with our jam color. Now, this isn't sponsored by anybody whatsoever. I paid for all these yarns myself, or the yarn was a gift. From a family member. Nothing sponsored. But I do find that the yarn's a little bit more budget friendly for me. Because roving can get a little pricey. Or at least certainly pricey for my budget, put it that way. Our budget's very tight right now, so especially after we had to have the plumbers come out and deal with the sink. But we're also trying to get some money put away, because we might be moving in a couple of years. I hope we can move in a couple of years. I'd like to move sooner, but that's not going to happen. But in the meantime, we'll be as budget friendly as we can. I think I want to, I was thinking about doing a doodle next Saturday, but I also kind of want to get back into our tissue paper art, right? Because I've got a bunch of that. I still kind of need to use up. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do a doodle this week and plan for tissue paper art the following week. Perhaps. For Saturday, mind you. Saturday afternoon. We kind of just do whatever our mood strikes us. I need to test my one set of pens to see how water resistant they are. Because that might determine what all we're actually going to do. I was thinking about pulling out the wood burner, but I'm not sure. How I want to handle that yet. Still trying to figure out what we're gonna do for Christmas gifts, because sometimes they take a while. And I'm not certain yet what I want to do. That I have to figure out. Like, my mom shouldn't be too bad to figure out. But the mother-in-law and her sister, since they're gonna be here for Christmas, I'm gonna have to figure out something for them. And since they're back to traveling in the RV, it's got to be something small. So we got to think about that. Alright, that's not too bad. That's probably pretty good there. Gently, because we didn't lift up for a little bit there. We do have... what is that? Alright, that's a thin spot. The spot we somehow missed. I don't know how, but we did. But that's okay, because you know what? You just get a bit of fluff, and we can fix it. And we fix it by just stabbing in over top of it. Kind of thought that's what I was seeing, but I wasn't certain. But that's what I like about this stuff. I don't have to worry about the paint drying on me too fast or too slow, depending on what we're doing. And I don't have to worry about having like clean water and dirty water and how I'm going to dispose of the water. And I don't have a wet project if I decided to paint somewhere else. Alright, I'm gonna flip this guy upside down and, you know, figure out how the heck I'm gonna get it home. I'll tell you what, we got this little piece here. Let's go sideways this way. And start to do this. Now I'm using a wool felting mat. I got mine from Wool Buddy. Not sponsored again, that's why I've got the tape on the mat, that's why it looks weird. Because they have the name of the company on the mat. But, I've been liking it so far. It does start to, after a while, it seems, unless it's just what I'm doing, because we're making pictures, right? So there's going to be a little bit more fluff getting stabbed into the mat, right? Instead of like if you're just doing a figurine. So if you're just doing figurines, you probably wouldn't have as much fluff going into your mat. Probably. But, since we're doing this, we've got a little bit more fluff stabbing into it. So it is kind of holding on to some fluff. Not terribly so. And we can take a razor and just kind of, like a shave your legs razor or face or whatever, depending on what you're using it for. Like a, you know, just a normal, standard, if I can grab it, you know, just razor. And then you can just run that along the surface to get any of the loose stuff, or you can pluck it out by hand. Depends on your preference, really. I mean, it doesn't get all of it out, but it gets, you know, the extra. It gets some of it. But I've been liking this mat. We've had this mat almost a year. We will have been using this one a year in August. And I think I like this mat a bit better than the last one we were using. The last one we were using kept warping in the middle. Now this one's a little bumpy at this point. But it's not like forming a dome in the middle like the last one was, so... Not, because the other one was just like becoming unusable. It kind of looked like it was a volcano growing in the middle. So I wasn't a huge fan of that one. This one, and now this was a little expensive. It was, well, I guess it depends on your definition of expensive. This mat I think was between $20 and $30. I think it was closer to 30. It wasn't any more than 40. So I don't remember if I got it on sale or not. But it's been wearing pretty well. You can stab the front, the back, we've done both. We're using the back for a while. And now we're back to using the front. So we're kind of putting in the dark crevices and like some shadows along our mountain range here, in case that wasn't quite apparent. That is what we are working on. You know, when the stuff decides to cooperate. Alright, so trying to get up on the edge of our outline here. Just so we don't have any weirdness happening there. So I hope everybody else is staying aware of their weather today. I don't know if there's supposed to be too much shittiness happening out there, but even a little bit is not good. Like, we all need the rain, right? Like, that's not the level of shitty I'm talking about. I'm, like, talking about, like, nasty monster-sized hail or spinny atmosphere, spinny clouds coming down. Those aren't good. I think Tennessee was getting something. I think they're getting the storm system that came through us last night. I think. Alrighty. Let's get a little bit of this here. Just wanted to get a little bit more up on that edge there. It wasn't quite filled in enough to my liking. I could see a little bit of blue still. Trying to poke through it there. So we'll get that. Put into there. Okay. Alright, we'll move on to our last guy here. And this one I'm going to do upside down. It's just going to be easier. So we used a little bit of this color, but not a whole tremendous amount. Like, I was thinking we were going to have to fluff more, but no, we're not. We're still good. We're still looking pretty good here. For the amount that's in our zippy lock. So I try to fluff a Ziploc bag's worth of fluff, or almost a full Ziploc bag. I was using the sandwich bags. I've moved up to the quart freezer bags because the cats were destroying my sandwich bags. The freezer bags, the plastic's a little bit thicker. So it's a little bit more durable, and then I can get a little bit more fluff in those. I don't want to do the gallon size bags because that'll probably be like the entire skein of yarn, and while I could probably do that, it would take me a couple of days per color, and I've been fluffing the colors as I've been getting the balls of yarn. So we have a base jumping off amount, so we can just dive into our project without having to fluff it first, because I never know how much I'm going to need either. So that way we're all ready to go, and then as we get low on a color, I will refill the bag of fluff. Okay. So, just gonna work on getting this in here, and remember, you kind of want to follow an angle. You don't want it like straight down. Kind of think of how he's done the mountains where he's put snow on them, and he's got like the blue shadowing coming in, like these little ridges, and like not ridges, but these little valleys where the sun's not gonna reach. That's kind of what we're doing, except we're making them purple instead of adding like a light blue snow to indicate shadow. We're just kind of jumping in here with both feet and filling this in with this dark color. So this is going to be a little different than his. And I'm also not gonna, I can't really do the like the misty effect that he does with the paint. I personally have not really figured out a way to kind of get that effect across with this stuff without it just looking like oddly placed swirls, essentially. So that's one little bit that I am probably gonna omit there. So we don't have to follow to a T every single thing that he does, though the mist at the base of the mountain can be pretty noticeable that it's missing, right? So I just haven't found a way to convey that yet with the fluff. I'm not sure there really is. Without it looking strange. So we'll just skip that part. And it'll be okay. It'll be alright. That edge does not want to fill in here. Or my aim is just really, really bad. Probably more of column B there. More than anything. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Having a good weekend. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. Where's everybody from? Like, just your state or your country or whatever. We don't need addresses. Don't give me that. I don't want that. Just, you know, whereabouts are you all watching from? And do you guys do the arty things? The crafty things? What's your jam? What is your favorite thing to do? Is it painting, knitting, crocheting, needlepoint, cross stitch, needle felt, embroidery, mosaics, scrapbooking? What is your thing? I did scrapbooking for a little bit. It's mind-boggling now, all the stuff you can do with it. And all the stuff to make cards and things. Wow. That's turned into quite an art form. And has definitely evolved. When I was working at the craft store all those years ago, 20-some years ago. Oh, that feels so weird to say. It was like, oh, you get some rubber stamps or some vellum and your embossing powder. And maybe a couple of stickers or something. And some cardstock and all that. But now, oh my goodness. You've got those stupid... Is it circuit or cricket? I'm never quite sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. I think it's pronounced cricket. With those like cutty machines and the dies, and people are doing such cool things with that now, even like for scrapbooking or card making. Like, wow. Or, you know, they're also using it to cut like vinyl and stuff to make tumblers and mugs and all kinds of things. I kind of feel out of the loop, having been out of working in the craft store for so long. You know, we would see the new stuff when it was coming in, and I'd always be up in the merchandiser's business. I'd be like, what's this do? What's this for? Teach me. Tell me. What do you know? Sometimes they didn't know how it worked, but we also had our classroom coordinator. She would have to do the display boards for stuff, so she would figure out how the shit worked. And I'm like, what do you do with this? Like, we really needed one day a month almost where we should have been coming in to be taught about different products from around the store, so we knew how we could better help the customers. I think that would have been fun. It probably would have been a pain in the ass getting to there for it, but I think that would have been beneficial, because then we all would have been knowledgeable about the thing. You know, like an hour or two a month where we come in And the merchandisers are all taught about, well, this is how you use this. And these are some of the things it can do. So that way when somebody's like, I need to do this, we could have been able to help them a little bit better with what they were going to need. I don't know. I'm sure everybody would have bitched and moaned about having to come in. Extra for it, and I don't know when it would have really been a good time. Like our morning meeting that we had once a week was like 15 minutes long. Like right before the store opened. So that really wasn't a good time for that. And sometimes in the evenings there was either a birthday party or a class or something. So it would have been tough, but maybe one Saturday a month or something. Or if they could have had us stay late on a Friday night, maybe. But then we would have been getting overtime because they would have had to pay us, so they probably wouldn't have been too happy about that idea. But if it made them more money in the end, because we could, you know, better sell the product in the store, might have been a trade-off. I don't know. Alright, I'm just gonna take a look, see if I missed anything glaringly. That's a little bit thin there on that one still. Hi, Momo. Hi, buddy. Hi. Do you have to go pee-pee? It's a Momo.
Hi, buddy. I got you.
Do I need to get him?
I got him.
You okay?
Uh-huh.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm stupid hungry.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need...
As it turns out, the calories mount up really bloody fast.
Do I need to make you something for dinner?
No, that's not the problem.
Oh. I think you might have to stair-step yourself down.
Oh, I'm gonna have to. I'm absolutely gonna have to. There's nothing I can do about that.
I don't think you can just go to the low-calorie. Right away. Alright, let's see. Okay, that's not too bad. What am I listening to? You guys can't hear it. Okay. Sounded vaguely familiar, but yet no. Okay. So, that's where we're at the moment. Let me see. So, sometimes I try to get the air out of here so they collapse a little bit flatter. And other times it doesn't always work. But I need to get them collapsed a little bit flatter because my fluff wall is a little out of control. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the amount of fluff on the fluff wall. No, not at all. I only have like 50 plus colors up there. That's all. That's all. That's not very much. No. Okay. So let's get our next bit of fluff and stuff. So this is our vintage heather. And this is what we are going to use to fill in our mountain shapes here. Alright, so we are gonna start by working this guy in here. What side do we want to go to? I guess it makes more sense to start on this side. I'm gonna try to come up right on the edge here of our purple. Or the dark purple. They're both purple. They're both purple, Nisey. Okay, so this line here, this one right here, this is just a baseline that I was using for where we were going to cut off the bottom of our mountain and our sky, where I didn't want to go too much lower than that because we've got trees that are going to be sitting in this whole section. We've got a couple different layers of them. You alright?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were trying to get my attention.
No. Outside.
Yeah. I'm not sure what today's high pollen is, but it's something. Every time I stepped outside, actually for the past couple of days, my eyes just immediately started watering. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit of a, not a slog, but a slower process to get all of this worked into here. I want to try to see if we can follow our angles here. At least a little bit. At least the tiniest bit. See what we can make happen here. Maybe we can get something to happen, maybe not, but Momo. Now what's the matter, Momo? Did he want to stay out longer, or is he just being grumbly?
What's that?
Did he want to stay out longer, or...
Oh, he wanted to lick the dirt.
Momo, you can't lick the dirt, buddy. That's not what we're gonna do. I don't know why you're trying to lick dirt. Are you that hungry that you're trying to eat dirt? He's on a special dog food right now. Oh, did you get any other dog food?
Other dog food.
For him? Because I don't think we have enough to get to Tuesday on the other stuff.
No, I didn't.
He's on a special urinary tract dog food at the moment. And we forgot it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And our vet's not open on Saturdays. our primary vet that has been dealing with him with this issue. Our secondary vet hasn't seen him for this, and then that would be a whole another thing. So the food he's on is prescription, it seems. At least the wet version, which is what he's been eating, because he wouldn't eat the dry version. We tried. Trust me, that was a painful adventure, and Price... I was even trying to hand feed it to him, and he took like 3 bites, and he was like, nope, I'm out. So... I don't think our vet's going to be open until Tuesday, so we have to get him something in the meantime.
Try the normal canned food anyhow. So.
Yeah. Like, we've had some home test strips that we're trying to monitor it with, and it is improving, so I think 1 day or 2 of not this will be okay. It's going to have to be. But he might have to have another vet visit here in the next week or so. Because we can actually see what he's passing when we get a sample of it. But at least the UTI on him should be long gone. Should be. So that's one battle down. Trying to make this as easy for you guys to see. As we can. Which is a little bit difficult at times. Especially when my aim is bad. And I totally missed the spot I was trying to fill in. Because of course I did. Come on, let go. Alrighty. So let's see here. Let's try to get that little spot. That looked a little thin. I thought I was seeing the base felt shining through there. Just wanted to get a little bit more on that particular spot. Okay, that should be pretty good there now. Now to try to get in around our outline. That's the next tricky spot. Because Bob does a lot with brush strokes and getting points across and things visually. And we don't necessarily have brush strokes to work with in that regard up in here, but we can kind of work with... Really? You're being stubborn. But we can work with angles. A fair bit here. Okay. Now, I'm gonna try not to be too fussy about the bottom edge if something looks a little bit thin. I'm gonna try, because we're gonna have trees coming up over this whole section, and it's probably going to fill in the thing that I'm fighting with right now, so I'm going to try to tell my brain to let it go. But we do have a little bit of some blue peeking through here. Like more blue than I'm okay with. I didn't quite get up on our dark purple line here as much as I wanted to. So I'm gonna see if we can carefully get that fully filled in here. It might be a little tricky to see in there. So sometimes when you come at the fluff from an angle, you can kind of nudge it in the direction that you're trying to go if you kind of misplaced something slightly. Sometimes it works. Sometimes. Just takes a little bit of patience. To maneuver it fully. So we'll work on getting this guy filled into here. But, you know, I know this is a little bit of a slower medium, but I'm okay with that. So much stuff is just, you know, rush, rush, rush. Gotta get it done. But sometimes it's kind of nice to change the pace of things and have a slower project to work on. And just kind of feel it out as you go. Now, other people might be faster at this than me, and that's fine. I do move at a turtle pace, it seems like, on some of this. But you know what? That's okay. If I wanted to be done faster, then we would be doing paint or something else. Although even me painting's a little bit slow, depending on what type of paint we're using and what exactly we're trying to do. Okay. So that's not too bad. You can kind of see our shape filling in, our mountain coming to be. Kind of get the idea for how this is gonna go. Alright, I'm just gonna brush that down. Okay, so let's take a look at this from this angle. So it's not so bad. The colored pencil sketch was a little bit more different in color, so I didn't have quite the right colors. But you know, the idea's there. They're similar. Oh, I was gonna try to bring that angle down a little bit. Oh, that's alright. I was looking at that one. I was thinking of bringing that one down a little bit more. We still can. But we'll see. We'll see. So it is a little bit, like, you can change your mind with this a little without too much fuss, depending on how far in you are. Sometimes it can be a little bit of trouble trying to change directions or make an adjustment. Sometimes. So we don't have the pig cam. Pigs are in the other room, so I can't really set up pig cam. My luck, it would just be a cat's ass taking over the entire camera. Because the kitties have been enthralled with them. Not so much them, I think, but Peabut's been more interested in the guinea pig hay than the guinea pigs. So we've had to go to great lengths to make sure he can't get into the guinea pig hay. Cal's interested in the pigs, for sure, because he jumped into the cage on me the one day I was feeding them or trying to clean them. So cleaning them is now a two-person project. Just gonna snip the end of that. I always used to be, when we started, so nervous about snipping the end of the fluff, and I know that sounds silly, but I was like, am I Is this okay? Is this okay for me to do? Yeah, snip it. It's fine. It'll be okay. If it's too big, snip it. It's perfectly fine. Nothing bad will happen. Okay. So now we'll take this. Don't get rid of it. Especially if it's just a solid color. You can use that later. You can throw it either back in your bag or pile of fluff of the same color. If it's mixed with some other colors, then I'd say put that in your discard pile. Sometimes I will flip the little tiny bit up if it's not worth trimming off and like just double back it on itself. Like that's fine. All right. Now, this didn't come like this since we used acrylic yarn. It came in its wrapped up yarny form. You would see the skeins in the store, like just like that. We had to untwist it, which involved a pet grooming brush. I believe they're called slickers or stickers, one of those. They've got a bunch of angry metal teeth on them. They're kind of bent at a funny angle. They usually have like a rectangular piece to them, or square, depending on the size of it. That, let's take that way. I mean, we could, depending on the size of the brush. And we take some strands that are roughly the same length, and what? What's the matter? I don't have food. You seem to think I have food and I don't. He's like begging for what I have in front of me, but it's yarn, buddy. And then you're gonna take some lengths of yarn and snip them so they're, you know, similar lengths. And you're just gonna brush them out. And then you'll have pre-twisty yarn state once again. And you can start stabbing. We have a video on the YouTube channel for how I personally prep my yarn. Do be careful with that brush though, because they are sharp. It's like for dogs that have like that real thick cottony undercoat, so. Oh, I didn't clean the brush properly last time we did some brown stuff. But this does hurt a little bit on the human skin. Not really supposed to get your doggo's skin with it. You're just using that to rake out their undercoat. Or, you know, untwist your yarn. Either works. Either works. But we might need to take him to the vet if we can't figure out why he's still whining. We can't tell if he's just begging for stuff that doesn't exist. Or if he's just mad that he's not getting things that he used to get. And he's getting tired of not getting it. That could also be. Because he's not getting any extras from my mom right now either. Because the extras he was getting was what got us into this mess. Once in a while we'll do a tiny little cheat now that it's starting to get back to where it needs to be. But last night after stream it was so bad. We think he was actually hurting last night. He still has that back issue. And Russell and I were starting to hurt as the storms were getting closer. He kept moving from one dog bed to the other, trying to find some way to lay that he was happy with. Which was quite the feat, apparently, last night. Because just nothing was making him happy. Gonna kind of brush that down. So it would help if our tape was actually straight there. So we can see that starting to get filled in. I don't know if it's gonna get the point across as it's filled in, but we're gonna do the best that we can. Right? That's all we can do. Alright. Next mountain, or next ridge of our mountain line. Mountain line, not mountain lion. We can get this guy worked in here without losing our dark purple. And without going too far below our line here. We will see. I might have to put another little piece right under in here. We'll see. Gotta see what this looks like after we get the majority of this tacked down. That was a big piece of fluff there. Okay, so we do have a small bit there where we're not right up on our dark purple. And you can see some of our gray. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera, but you can see it in person, so we're gonna fix that up. Alright, so let's pop that guy up. And I'm just gonna brush the back of that down. Wait, which way were we spinning? I think we're spinning this way. Trying to rotate our mat every so often, just so we don't get too much wear in any one particular spot. Alright. Gonna get this guy. Well, we're gonna try to get this guy popped into here. Hopefully, without losing too much of our crevice here. Crevasse. I should have made that a little bit bigger. But alas, I did not. Because for some reason, even though I know I try to overlap the colors so we don't have any strange seams here, I forgot or didn't even think about doing it for that. And there's times where I'm like, nee, why? Why did you make that choice? And all I can do is shrug and be like, I don't know. I just did. Brain got silly. It happens. Does that mean we have a little extra work to do because I did something silly? Yep. Yep, it does. But that's okay. And I still got a little bit of gray poking through there. Like more than I want there to be, so. Like this tape was pretty straight, and I think because now like it wasn't really bunched up. I think now because we are getting into this section that we hadn't tapped into yet, it's starting to get a little bunched up. So the tape might not help us in the end. It was an idea. And I thought it was worth a shot. To at least attempt to keep a straighter line there. Keep me from getting a little too carried away. Okay. Let's see. Alright, so it's 3:30. Oh, he's getting fussy because he wants dinner. That's what that's about. It's a little early still, bud. Yes, we are upside down. And I'm sorry we're upside down at the moment, but it's a little more important that I be able to see what the heck we're doing up here without having to twist myself into a pretzel to be able to see it when I could just, you know, turn it upside down. And sometimes turning stuff around with different directions, sideways, upside down, you know, diagonally, can help you see something you may have missed as well. So I am just kind of trying to get this purple at an angle with the needle to get up on our dark purple line. It's like I was saying earlier, sometimes if you have the patience, you can nudge the color into place if you're not quite in the right spot. Like if you're off just a little bit, sometimes you can get it to slide over a little bit. Alright, let's see if we can get this guy locked down into place here. Alright, that's not let's see if I can come up this side there. Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially if you've got like a bunch of colors next to each other that you can see that, oh yeah, you foobarred there. It's like, yep, sure did. Alright. How do I want to handle this? Got a little bit of a gap right in there. And we didn't get anything filled in yet. Not too bad. Have a teeny tiny spot here that I want to fill in. If we're able to get that in the right spot. There we go. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have trees like kind of like topping off at the base of this line. I actually might need to bring this mountain color down a little bit further just to ensure that we don't have any silliness developing. Uh-oh, I hear more people mowing their lawns. Oh no. Oh no. I said, oh no.
Good for them. It is literally burning hot wind out there. I don't give a shit. My lawn can grow a little.
Yeah, I love the letters the city sends us. Your grass is over 6 inches tall. I don't think it's that tall. Everywhere. If you do not cut it within the next number of days, we will cut it and send you a bill. Which is probably going to be stupid high. Okay, so I'm going to brush that section down there. I'm going to straighten this out. Okay. So that's not looking too bad so far. Not really. I mean, it did take us a little bit of time today to fill in our remainder sky section. And then we outlined these guys and worked on getting their little crevices put into place. That's still a little bit of blue there that I'm not happy with being visible, so it's either pop out more of the purple, the dark purple, or come in again with this color that we already have out. And just clean that up. Like, I really didn't want that dark purple to be too thick anyway. Just kind of wanted a barely there bit to kind of flow down into the little shadowy sections. So I need to get some flamingo buttons. I need like 2. Maybe. And like, they don't have to be perfect because I'm not actually putting them through a buttonhole. I'm just kind of using them to hide some Velcro dots that we're gonna sew on to something else. I've got like this really like gauzy thin overshirt that I had picked up when we went away in the end of January, but it doesn't have a way to stay closed like on the front. And so when it's a little breezy out, it like blows open and it kind of defeats the purpose that I got it for. So, and then I'm like stuck holding it closed, so I want to get some flamingo buttons because they will match the pattern on the shirt. I mean, I guess palm trees would work in a pinch, or like some palm leaves, but I'd prefer them to be flamingos because there's a flamingo print on this thing. have to bring the trees. Oh, where's my sketch? Oh, okay. That line of tree. Okay, we should be fine. Alright. I wasn't sure if I was gonna have to bring this down lower, but no, looking at the height of the trees from our idea sketch, I think we'll be okay. Which is good, because this is gonna be a lot of layers of fluff putting these trees in. So it's gonna get a little thick in here. Just a bit. There, pop you up. We're not done attaching in that specific spot. Keep getting caught on my wires. I finally remembered to charge my headphones this afternoon right before stream. So we'll have the wireless ones for tomorrow. That's not Neighbor Lady, right?
Huh?
It's not Neighbor Lady that's cutting the grass, the one that we cut her grass for her, right?
Well, it could be for all I fucking know.
Because it's way too hot for her to be out there. Like, way too hot. With all of her problems. I saw our grass snake this morning.
Yes, it is, and she can have the joy of it.
She's gonna end up dropping dead out there.
Well, that's what she wants.
I don't know why she didn't call us. Like she always does, unless that's who was trying to call you while you were at the store.
She doesn't generally try to call me for it, hon. I try to beat her too, so she doesn't do something stupid that hurts herself.
Oh, I thought she's called you before about it.
No. Well, she did once when she was, like, in the bloody hospital, but...
And here I was, silly thinking that since the landlord's son or whoever fixed her lawnmower and then mowed it for her was gonna keep doing it. How silly of me. That's 88 plus the heat index. It felt like it was above 90 earlier. Plus the hot wind on top of it. Let's see, what time is it? Okay. Today is flying by, but we did get started a little bit late today. Well, later than we have been. Alright, let's pop that up. And I'm going to brush that down. Just make sure our tape's not getting too bunchy over there. Okay. So we'll come back in and get this side. best as we can here. I still have a little bit of fluff pulled out, so we can get this last piece here. Might as well use this bit up before we move on here. Alright. So the mountains, we'll be working on the mountains some more tomorrow. For sure. We do needle felting on Sunday and Monday afternoons. So this is only our second session on this guy. We average around 11 for the most part, which isn't too bad. I mean, there's some that have been longer, depending on how much time I've had per streaming session to work on these guys. We've been trying to allocate a little bit more time for the arty streams where possible. So we'll be back to working on this tomorrow. And I don't know if we'll finish the mountains tomorrow. We might. That might be all we get done tomorrow, but we've already got a bit of a start on it. So I'm thinking that tomorrow we should at least get close to finishing the mountains, if not completely finishing that up. So this is, we didn't make it too far today, but we kind of did at the same time. When we first started out, we had this square open here. None of this was done. So we got our sky filled in, we got our mountains outlined, and we got our shadowy guys popped into there. And now we are slowly starting to fill in our actual mountain color. So it's not going too bad at the moment. We're working on getting there. We'll be back to working on this tomorrow. But I think this is a good stopping point for today. So I hope everybody has a good weekend and that the rest of your day goes well. And I will see you all tomorrow early afternoon to get back to work on this guy. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. There's links to all the socially things down below where we post our art projects or what have you. We have an Instagram, we have a Twitter, whatever the hell it is now. We have a Ko-fi page, which I did not post the painting to yet that we finished yesterday. I still need to do that. And we also have a YouTube channel. We archive all of the live streams, well, most of the live streams over there when possible. And once in a while you'll see something pop up that we didn't stream when I have time to work on that. But I've been backlogged with video editing at the moment. So we will work on getting that cleared out as fast as we can. So until tomorrow, you guys, have a good one.